And right back into the dungeon crawling. We're probably going to be seeing a lot of dungeon crawling over the next couple episodes because, well, it is my favorite part of the game. I like a good quality grind, and Persona 5 has definitely been giving me that. But I also get the feeling that as soon as I finish up with this palace, we're probably going to be right back into cutscene and dialogue territory, so, you know, get it while the grinding's good. Oh, and there's Morgana's splash screen, which I didn't really know if I showed off last time. Definitely wanted to show it off this time because he has the best out of any of my party members right now. Everybody else gets a somewhat realistic pose, whereas Morgana somehow conjures a chair and a cigar out of nowhere to do his one. I mean, he's got a sense for the extravagant, so no surprise on that. Even in and out of battle, you get to see that. But yeah, we are going to be seeing probably a lot more dialogue and cutscenes, but I think that at this point in time, most of the tutorials and exposition's over, so it shouldn't be as bad as before. I mean, I can only hope. I do know that there are a couple very manufactured conversations between students or random people you're eavesdropping on coming up here, telling you about getting a part-time job or grinding your skills at the library. But I want to say Ryuji just hopefully the times of Ryuji just reiterating something that I just learned are over. We'll see. In the meantime, I got a lot of dungeon crawling to do. Because, you know, don't want to get expelled and all that. And as part of that, I got this mysterious book here. Yeah, Morgana, we are definitely going to be picking up this book. Let me tell you, Kamoshida does not really strike me as the sort that's going to be reading, so this is definitely a key item. And I mean, you know I got that special ability called I played a video game before. Oh, and also Third Eye, so I know it's a key item. Yeah, there was that little room right above the safe room there. I'm making a lot of pit stops back at this. Where'd this guy come from? What is even going on? And I got hit anyway. Well, most of the enemies here are still of a blue, you know, lower level than me rank, so even getting ambushed is not too bad. Now, if I'm getting ambushed by a red enemy, that's much worse. I mean, I'm already making constant run back to the safe room just to make sure that I'm not dying here. I mean, in fact, I cleared out that entire hallway before going into that little corner library thing there just to make sure that I had a clear exit route in case an enemy decide to pop right up in that room as soon as I open that door. Something that does, in fact, happen. But yeah, if they're weak enemies, it's not too bad. Red enemies, though, enemies that are a higher level than me, are still a real issue. A character like Barith, I don't have any ability to hit a weak spot. I don't have any ability that would hit him with a weakness. And he can take out... Now, there we go. That's exactly how it happens when you run into a room and an enemy suddenly spawns. But yeah, I don't have any weaknesses for that guy, and he can take out my party members in a single hit. And that includes the main character, which is game over if that happens. It's rough. And really, even if I did have a weakness for some of the tougher enemies, an all-out attack isn't a guaranteed way to kill them. Sometimes you have to do that multiple times. So even if, for example, I got the main character and I was going to call him Kanji, Ryuji, having Zio, for example. A lot of enemies in this dungeon are weak to Zio. For, you know, each round that my party goes, I could get an all-out attack twice. I don't think that would be enough to take out a single Barith. And that means that somebody's going to have to take a hit. Yeah, a lot of what hard mode is knowing when to hold them, knowing when to fold them. When to walk away and when to run? Absolutely. After all, when you run, the enemy actually just poofs into thin air, and you got a clear path through the hall. It's pretty useful if you're running pretty low on MP. That's generally how it goes when it comes to figuring out when I need to be leaving the dungeon. As soon as my characters can no longer cast spells, you know, to either heal or hit enemies with weaknesses, which is the best damage mitigation you got here, that's when it's time to bail for the day. Morgana being very savvy to how a video game works as well. I can appreciate that. But yeah, got 3 books here, King book, Slave book, and the Queen book. It's pretty obvious. I mean, I might not be the best at Japanese, but even I was able to figure this one out immediately. So, Slave book. I mean, come on. I got my doubts that the puzzles are going to get any more difficult past this point, which is probably good. I mean, I'm already on hard mode. I'm already working with the whole Japanese thing. I don't need anything else to be put on there. Also, the vulgar ape. Come on. I mean, yes, Ryuji is a little bit vulgar, but that's excessive. I guess, you know, hey, Kamoshida's already extremely, just stupidly evil. Why not throw a little bit of petty name-calling on top of that? Also, I object, leading the witness. But, man, they really went all out with Kamoshida, didn't they? They pulled out all the stops, despite me standing in the background being like, no, leave in a couple of those stops. Ah, but it was too late. Oh, well. Yeah, this reminds me that the original Silent Hill, the original PlayStation Silent Hill, had a different difficulty setting for puzzles, which was an interesting way of going about doing that. You could have easy combat, hard puzzles, or the other way around. It was a neat way to go about doing that, considering that they were 2 very different parts of the game. I mean, you could almost separate them entirely and have them be different ones if you wanted to. I guess it made sense. Something I would have always liked to see in other games, kind of adopt that same sort of thing. Of course, when it comes to Silent Hill puzzles, you know, on hard mode, you had to recognize specific quotes from Shakespeare, which was maybe not the easiest thing to do. So maybe wanting that in other games is kind of a not the best idea. And Silent Hill 1 was such a strange game in a lot of ways. Playing around with space by expanding and contracting how the town and, like, alleys, the dark world worked and everything like that. Really playing with the whole idea of the unreliable narrator, along with a bunch of different possibilities for what might or might not be happening. Whether it's all in the characters' heads, or is actually going on, whether there's an actual cult or not. It's just unfortunate that every other one of the Silent Hills instead went in the direction of recreating Silent Hill 2. I know it was the most famous of the series, but it still would have been nice for a little. I mean, really, there just should have never been a sequel to that. Instead, go on to Siren. We did eventually get that, so I guess it's not all a wash. Anyway, yes, a secret room opened up here. Kind of a disturbing one. Don't really know what to make of this just yet. I am currently, I think that the recording is up to very close to the end of the palace, but I haven't really quite got an explanation for this just yet. Well, until then, there is a map over here. And I guess the Olympic medal or whatever the Kamoshida won. You know, the one thing in his life that has nothing to do with causing pain and suffering for other people. I mean, who knows? At this rate, it might as well find out that apparently he got the medal by, like, sabotaging everyone else, poisoning them or something. Alright, and that is the complete map for the entire area here. Which means that, yeah, pretty much halfway through. Which is good, because I'm definitely going to have to duck out of the palace pretty soon. Went through a lot of fights coming in here and am pretty low on resources. Not even just equipment, but also MP and everything like that. There it is. Really not too much of a jaunt, and I think that I should be able to make it in the next infiltration to the palace. Maybe. I mean, if you just run past most of the enemies, it's not too bad. You can keep enough MP for healing, taking down individual dudes, everything like that, and just manage to get in there. And a lot of my strategies when it comes up here is just sometimes making a beeline right for where I think the next safe room was going to be. Yeah, you do increase the whole alert system and everything like that if you're running away from enemies, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And yes, at the end of that hallway is a locked treasure chest, and I only had the one lockpick, so one quick jaunt back to the safe room, and it could finally open this thing up. I don't really know how that metal is supposed to work, but this is working by dream logic and everything anyway, so why not? Of course, we're thieves. What are we even doing open up traps on doors and everything like that? That's not very sneaky thing to do. This is very straightforward. And there's a lot of other parts of the game where, you know, you're sneaking along the roofs of buildings, trying to figure out ways around locked doors. I mean, you never go in through the front door. And yet sometimes it's just more traditional dungeoneering. Why not? What a hallway. Oh yes, and this was also where I took a look at whatever was going on with some of the pictures here. They're just all blurry messes, unfortunately. Which is too bad. I was hoping to see something cool here. I don't know, see a big picture of one of the royal guards in Anor Londo or something. They definitely got that look to them. And I thought that line was going to be unique. It was not. So, enjoy it up on screen for a little bit longer. And another look at the myriad save files that I got for this game. A hard mode. I want to make sure that I am rotating these things like crazy to make sure that I'm not losing any progress. Because, oh, that's gonna sting if I do. I have lost a lot of recruited demons and everything because I ran into too many enemies on the way back to a safe room. So, boss arena? Oh, well, that's exactly why Morgana is stopping me here. I mean, it didn't need to tell me that. I make it a point to point out whenever there is a gigantic battle arena coming up here. In any game I play. It is that whole ability and curse of having played more than one video game before. So yeah, here you get one quick choice of, are you sure you want to fight a boss right now? And I mean, I just saved, so yeah, let's check it out. Just a seamless cutscene there. You know, still get a whole lot of those roses around here. I wonder if that's going to be a theme for every single palace, or if that's just kind of a Kamoshida thing. It doesn't really seem to have any... I suppose actually way early on, the principal called him the flower of the school. Maybe that's what they're going for here. Or it could just be a general thing. I have no idea. I just think that that imagery is strange because there's no other indication that that would be associated with him. And it's just a gold guard guy. Hey, the vulgar ape thing paid off, I guess. I'm fairly certain Kamoshida also, Shadow Kamoshida, called him that at some point in time, too. Maybe like when Ryuji first got his persona or something. Or maybe I'm just misremembering now. Well, anyway, we've got Archangel. Another very classic Kaneko design. Being upgraded to the 21st century. And by 21st century, I mean, like, 21st century plus 2 decades.
Yes.
So, take a guess how this fight went. Well, here, you don't need to. It's actually a really simple fight, but I was so down on MP and items and everything like that. I just was like, we'll get back to that. Yeah, it's a fight that's there to teach you about the guard mechanic, and, well, that's about it. Yeah, as it turns out, Sakura, I'm maybe not doing the best just because I keep expecting things to be trick questions. Hooray! Can open up some more stuff to do in the room. Yeah, you're telling me. But I think more importantly, well, not right now, I'm going to get the ability to do my first Confidant in this episode, which, finally, only 15 parts in. Yeah, Confidant's now being the replacement for social links. Of course the first one is going to be with Sakura. I mean, was there any question? I guess technically it could have been with the Doctor or Ryuji, but I want to know what's going on with Sakura. Thus far, he is still my favorite character in the game. I mean, that is pretty nice, but also very pretentious. And Sakura, again, best character in the game, bar none. Was he the guy that was also like a huge jerk last time too? I don't remember. Yeah. Go to sleep and all that. Morgana did gain a certain level of notoriety for forcing you to sleep all the time. I mean, in the previous games it was just that your character was making the executive decision to go to sleep, but this time you have a cat here to ferry you off to dreamland. Got little Nemo on speed dial, and he's going to be pulling his bed around at any point in time. Oh, come on. I know my main character has a smartphone. You can just get books on that. Gutenberg Project. Books have been around forever, and people, like, the copyright has been expired on them forever. The Gutenberg Project is just a place where you can go and read all-time classics whenever you want. Talked about reading Dracula before, and that's where I did it. Just on my lunch break. Just got on my phone and was like, hey, let's read a classic novel. Don't need to go buy that sort of stuff. I mean, of course, Persona does kind of keep up some of the old dinosaur media ways of doing stuff. Even in a game that's ostensibly taking place, I think, in the near future. Works for losers. You telling me? High five. But yeah, part-time jobs are... I mean, they try to convince you that it's a good way to get money. It's not. It's a good way to either grind out skills or to get another social link up. Confidant. I'm not going to get used to that anytime soon. But yeah, you get some unique stuff doing that, but really just grinding out in the dungeons is going to make you quite rich, just alone. Do not need to mess around with getting a part-time job. If anything, we should be using that time, like, doing a part-time job to instead just explore the dungeon by myself or something. Of course, it does make you extra exhausted due to the nature of video games. Also, I mean, I guess, you know, you are exploring the collective unconscious of mankind, which should probably take a psychic toll on you. Maybe. It's still kind of questionable exactly how that works. I really don't know what to make of Ryuji with those, that sort of thing. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be more like he forgot that he had class, but it sounded like he just forgot that he was extant in the world for a while. Yeah, Morgana, again, trying to convince you that it's a good idea to get a part-time job. No, it's more than war funds. We're going to get an entire war chest by selling all of this garbage that I find. I have gotten so many onyxes from breaking open those pots. Money is no object. And besides, I'm also going to be, you know, grinding as much as possible, so that's also a good source of funds. That said, you don't really get nearly as much money on hard mode compared to what I'm playing my the English version on safety, so it is a little bit tougher, but just a little bit. So there's a library in case I want to go there. And I mean, did just find out about that in the last episode. I suppose it's probably worth a try.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I forgot that technically the first Confidant link was supposed to be Ryuji, but he wasn't available today. Well, Sakura is still first in my heart. He is still the best character in the game. It's just I guess I lied when I said that, of course, he had to be the first one. Oh well, yeah, Ryuji is still available to get into the dungeon and everything, but for actually hanging out, nah. Social links are always something like, oh, you can only do them Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, or something like that. And I don't know what Ryuji's schedule is, but I guess it's not right now. Really do want to try to get some of those social links up as fast as possible, because they really do give you a huge experience, a huge level increase whenever you're fusing Persona. I mean, it's more than just, you know, getting the better cutscenes, the better stories that's outside the main story in the game. I mean, that's the main reason you want to do them, but you do also get a pretty good gameplay benefit as well. Anyway, Shibuya Underground Station, looking at some part-time job stuff. Not a whole lot here. It's only, what, 3? I decided to go for the floral shop job just because, I don't know, maybe a social link can be Macintosh Plus or something. Yeah, sure, whatever. We're already here, aren't we? That is exceedingly harsh, Morgana. Like, who are you to say how charming I am? Maybe not well-spoken, but charming. Well, yeah, my, lips aren't big enough to work in a floral shop or something. So I guess that's going to have to wait for a little while. There's a good reason why you want to grind out those stats. Some things are only available to you if you got the correct meta stats for them. And that's why I'm showing back up to the library instead. I mean, forget about working in a convenience store or a beef bowl shop. I'm going to work on my brain right now. Hey, Sakura wants to see some good grades? I can give him some good grades. It's just going to require a little bit of elbow grease in the library. And of course, this is the worst library of all time. You're only allowed to borrow one book. What is that? What sort of... I mean, I know it's gameplay conceits, but that is absurd. Why, yes, I am. Is something the problem, officer? Oh, yeah, right, this section. Totally real conversations that people have. I mean, this is... Come on. Like, There is nobody on Earth cares this much about somebody that they heard about in a rumor. Which is good, because I'm going to. Do people actually hear when Morgana is talking to me like that? Nobody seems to notice that. Anyway, hey, I recognize you from all the promotional art. Oh, okay. I'll wait until you're an actual party member. And eventual social link. And it's much like seeing Anne early on. It's like, wow, this character has a portrait. So yeah, not only do they have this sort of completely nonsensical way of lending out books, also they have a very small selection of books. And they're all ones that are only related to the story and the characters in it in some way or another. It's a mighty coincidence. Getting the great thief Arsène this time. Really now. Well, yeah, I just went with the one. I mean, yeah, they also had, like, pirate legends of Billy the Kid or Tales of Zorro and stuff like that. But it's like, come on, I'm going to go for the one that the persona that I had executed in the... Was that previous episode or 2 episodes ago? Let them watch. Hey, I'm not doing anything wrong here. If they have a problem with it, that's their problem. If anything, the fear that I'm giving them just gives me power over their emotions. So yeah, needless to say, I would not have studied in the library if everybody's staring at me. What are you kidding me? There would be a me-shaped hole in the wall from awkwardness. Thankfully, main character here not nearly as perturbed with that, which fills him with sparkles. And makes particularly toothy music notes come out of there. Still not enough to get me a level in, well, anything, but hey, it's still working on there. I'll get to level 2 in something eventually, I hope. God, I really hope. Yeah. What are you, my mom? Or, well, I guess he's like my caretaker or something with... It really does seem like Morgana is kind of the main character of this game, doesn't it? And that you're just the... You might as well be like some sort of exosuit that Morgana rides around in. Really? Really, rumors in the school spreading. Tell me more. Who could possibly be doing that? And why would they have any reason to? I mean, really, why would any of the students care that much? But, I don't know. Video game. Hey, nobody will know that we changed Kamoshida's heart. Also, I think they're probably going to be more surprised when he goes completely catatonic, rather than the whole heart-changing thing, because that's what's going to happen first. Did you forget about that part, Ryuji? You were kind of the biggest bottleneck in preventing us from going into the dungeon in the first place because of your reservations about that, but, Yeah, it doesn't matter. She got an eye. It's fine, Ryuji. I'd like to say that what we are... I've already explained how what we're doing here is extremely unethical and definitely illegal in one way or another. I don't know, maybe much in the same way that there isn't any rule against the dog playing basketball. Maybe there's not a rule about magic brain surgery. Get off scot-free. But then again, yeah, you've seen the bits with Najima. That's not in fact the case. So here we go, finally. And of course, on 420, could it be any more perfect? And I walked directly past him because, again, squirrely controls. Sakura, you're the one that called me over here. I guess that's the usual line he gives you before you start up a hang sesh with him. You would probably not appreciate me calling it a hang sesh. I do think that Sakura is the Hierophant, which is an interesting tarot to get, but hey, I'll take anything at this point. Want to try to learn as much about each one of these storylines as possible. Still not quite sure how I want to do this. I've thought about maybe, you know, taking each one of the social links. You get rank 1 to 10, and they each have their own little cutscene associated with that. Usually only a couple minutes long. I was thinking about maybe just grouping them all up so I'd have, you know, one episode of Persona here being Hierophant 1 to 10, or something like that. But, I mean, the natural way to do it is, of course, over a pretty long period of time. Maybe it's just my obsession with kind of grouping things together like that, but... maybe not. Tell me more. And much like whenever you start up any one of the social links, guess what I'm about to get accused of? Sakura, you know very well that my only crime was pushing a drunk man. Feel like you're being a little bit judgmental here, but then again, so is everybody on the planet Earth, so... guess just par for the course. I wonder if we're ever going to get to meet the person that he's talking to. But yeah, if I wasn't able to work in a floral shop, perhaps... I mean, the fact that I wasn't already working here in one capacity or another is ridiculous, but yeah, of course. You want to choose the response that is going to give you the most friendship points with the person that you're talking to, because that makes it faster for the rank to go up. At least I still think it still works like that in this game. I don't really know. This is literally the first time that I ever did a Confidant, so not really sure how it works. Maybe it's different in this one. Yeah, figuring out the word for brewing coffee is not one that you see a whole lot in Japanese. Cool. I mean, I already said that he played his hand pretty quickly as far as being a as far as being a curmudgeon with a heart of gold. It's like I wouldn't really say that it's closed that much. That conversation that you had riding in the car back from school that one day really closed the gap more than learning to make a cup of coffee ever would. Although, I mean, really, Najima, you should have suspected this from the start. And also, we are far away from Sakura actually joining up here. If that is ever going to happen, I'm going to have to get a lot closer than this. Anyway, Wari wa Nanji, Nanji wa Wari. Let's go. Cool. I don't remember... I do not remember very well which persona are part of which arcana. Anyway, next time, more dungeon crawling. Much more dungeon crawling to be had.